Thank you for joining this enhanced training session. This is MD Masroor Alam from Gyan Stali International School, Sigriyama, Patna. Affiliation number of the school is 330892. And today I am a trainer for this enhanced training session. Firstly, I would like to thank you all the CBSE team who has given us the chance to all the educators, teachers for giving the training. I would like to thank you, our school management, director sir, principal ma'am, for giving me this chance to take this in-house training session. As it is clearly seen on the blackboard, the topic of this in-house training session is understanding gender and their relationship. And I am the resource person for this session. Topics includes various subtopics such as importance of gender training for school teachers, development theories and approaches, the SDGs and gender equality, United Nations UNICEF gender monitoring tools and structures, law conventions and related terms to gender equality. Lastly, we will be on the conclusion of the topic. Now coming to the topic title, understanding gender relationships. Firstly, the question arises in the mind, what is gender? How does it gives impact, and what is its relationships, and how it is maintained? What are the various steps that can be taken to build a good relationships? Importance of gender training in school. Firstly, as we are dealing in schools as a trainer and learners are also there, the first questions on how to deal gender training for schools. Gender and power relations are intrinsic to all social institutions. Whatever the social institutions, whatever the societies, firstly the terms comes, they all refer to their power relations. From the family to educations, religious, legal institutions, workplace and the media. Gender concerns assume particular relevance in societies where women and girl children are marginalized. Gender roles are socially constructed and culturally based. Discrimination is manifested in social norms, beliefs, values, behaviors and policies, and is so commonplace that it is rarely recognized or addressed as a violation of human rights. Understanding of gender and gender relations begin at home. Firstly, the term gender, when the child borns, and from there the gender terms comes in the mind, whether the child is a male or a female. Or we can say that before born also the terms comes in the mind. That's why many abortions and illegal practices are born in the country and worldwide. Family members and school teachers play a pivotal role in influencing children's gender socialization and shaping their understanding of gender roles. Teachers, family members, they only describes, gives them details how the what is gender and how can we build it, what are the relations and how it can be maintained among male or female. Thus, discriminatory attitudes and practices in academic setting not only undermine equity and equality but also it actually encourages further bias, means taking side of one, not saying discrimination based on the basis of gender, taking the side of a male or female on the basis of gender. Conversely, when teachers strive to reduce gender disparities in secondary education, they act as change agents who advance the cause of education for girls. In doing so, they improve educational outcomes for all their students. Power relations between the sexes and many other aspects of the children's lives. Also, it is seen that in the family also, male dominant. Our society is male dominant society. So, many the power in the hand of men. But some are there where females are the leader and the owner of the house. And they only construct the families very well. It is also said that when we educate a woman, it will educate 3 families. The process of improving gender responsiveness in schools is impacted by the lack of sensitivity among teachers and inadequacy of their instruction skills. Teachers are often unaware that their behaviors and action may be discriminatory. Sometimes it is seen that due to the actions of teachers' behavior, they are discriminating. They are dealing with discriminations among the girl and the boy sitting in the class. Learning aids reinforce stereotypes are in common use, and one sex or the other may be frequently put down. These factors inhibit students, particularly girls, from participating in the classroom. They affect academic performance, but more crucially act as a critical determinants of whether girl continue attending school at all or not. Bridging the gap entails sensitizing teachers to gender issues and reshaping their attitudes to reject gender stereotypes. Gender sensitive teachers understand, respond to the needs of their students. When the teachers are gender sensitive, they understand the needs of the students, particularly girls and boys. During the age of adolescence, various changes are also done. Various changes also occur in boys and girls. So, teachers must understand these changes and be determined to take proper actions. They realize that girls and boys have different sexual maturation issues. They encourage equal involvement in class activities and ensure equal access to learning material. Gender relations do not exist in a vacuum. They are shaped by the institution and social norms. Now, gender. What is gender? Term asked is gender. A social and cultural construct which distinguishes difference in the attributes of men and women, girls and boys, and accordingly refers to the roles and responsibilities of men and women. What are the roles of the men? What are the roles of the boys? As in general it is said that men are for going outside and work. Why? Women are for in the home, for be a homemaker. Gender-based roles and other attributes therefore change over time and vary with different cultural contexts. The concept of gender includes the expectations held about the characteristics, aptitudes, likely behaviors of the both women and men, femininity and masculinity. This concept is useful in analyzing how commonly shared practices legitimize discrepancies between sexes. Gender analysis. How the gender analysis be done. Discriminations and gender analysis. A critical examinations of how differences in gender roles, activities, needs, opportunities and rights and entitlements affect men and women, girls and boys in certain situations or contexts. Gender analysis examines the relationships between females and males and their access to control resources and the constraints they face relative to each other. A gender analysis should be integrated into the humanitarian needs assessment and in all sector assessments or situational analysis to ensure that gender-based injustices, inequalities are not exacerbated by humanitarian interventions and that when possible great equality and justice in gender relations are promoted. Now, the term is discrimination. Any distinctions, exclusion or restrictions made on the basis of sex which has the effect or purpose of impairing, nullifying the recognition, enjoyment or exercise by women, irrespective of their marital status on the basis of equality of men and women of human rights and fundamental freedoms in the political, economics, social, cultural, civil or any other field. Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. Discrimination can stem from both law or from practice. In some countries, a woman is not allowed to leave the country or hold a job without the consent of her husband. A man and woman may hold the same job position, perform the same duties, but their benefits may differ. These are the main basis of discrimination. Now the questions. The SDGs and gender equality, spearheaded by the United Nations and the international community agreed in 2015 on 17 sustainable development goals to pursue over the next 15 years. The Sustainable Development Goals SDGs reaffirmed and invigorated UNICEF's work on gender inequality, especially around the rights and empowerment of adolescents. The needs and the rights of girls are encapsulated in Goals 5. Gender equality and women's empowerment and cut across the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Other SDGs target and indicators that resonate with UNICEF's gender work are good health and well-being, reduce maternal mortality, end preventable deaths of newborns and children under 5, ensure access to sexual and reproductive health and end HIV and AIDS and other diseases. Goal 4. Quality education. Universalize access to quality education from pre-primary to tertiary levels with a specific mandate to readdress social inequalities, undermining access to educational opportunities. Eliminate gender disparities at all levels and making sure education facilities are gender sensitive to create effective learning environment. General Assembly Resolution 17/138 noted that the equal rights of girls to quality education is central to the Sustainable Development Agenda. Clean water sanitation specifically calls paying attention to the needs of women and girls, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, ensure availability and sustainable management of water sanitation for all. United Nations UNICEF Gender Monitoring Groups. What are the United Nations UNICEF's gender monitoring tools and structures? Game plan. UNICEF. UNICEF game plans address specific topics of concern such as child marriage, GBYE, and girls' secondary education. The game plan constructs a convergent critical programming across countries and regions with a common understanding and programming to deliver results, which is central to UNICEF comparative advantage. For instance, 14 UNICEF country programs prioritize advancing girls' secondary education in conjunction with efforts to reduce child marriage and adolescent pregnancies. Gender-based violence information management system. Gender-based violence information management system. Acronyms of it GBVIMS. The GBVIMS was created to harmonize data collections on gender-based violence in humanitarian setting, to provide a simple system for GBV project managers to collect, store, analyze their data, and to enable the safe and ethical sharing and reported gender-based violence incident data. The intention of GBVIMS is both to assist service providers to better understand the gender-based violence cases being reported, as well as to enable actors to share data internally across project sites, externally with agencies for broader trends, analysis and improved gender-based violence coordinations. Gender Development Index. The Gender Development Index GDI measures the gender gaps in human development, achievements in three basic dimensions of human development. Achievements in three basic dimensions of human development. The first one is health, measured by female male expectancy of birth. Second, education, measured by female and male expected years of schooling for children, and female and male mean years of schooling for adults ages 25 and older. And the third one is command over economic resources, measured by female male estimated earned income. The index uses the same methodology as in the Human Development Index. The methodology and the measure of Gender Development Index is same as it is Human Development Index. The goalposts are also the same, except for life expectancy at birth, in which the minimum and maximum goalposts are varied. Minimum 22.5 years and a maximum 87.5 years for females. And the corresponding values for males are 17.5 years and 82.5 years. Taking into account the biological advantage averaging 5 years of life that females have over males, countries are ranked based on the absolute deviations from gender parity in HDI, Human Development Index. This means that ranking takes equally into consideration gender gaps, hurting females as well as those hurting males. The GDI reveals that gender gaps in human development are pervasive. Gender empowerment measure. Development by the United Nations system in 1995, gender empowerment measures inequalities between men and women, opportunities in a country, and annually updated an annually updated tool. It is used in formulating and applying gender equality indicators in programs. It provides trends tracking mechanism for comparison between countries as well as for one country over time. Gender empowerment measures uses a three-step calculation process. The first one is percentages for females and males are calculated in each of three areas. Area 1, number of parliament seats. Area 2, legislators, seniors, officials, managers. The second in this area 2, professional and technical position. The area 3rd, estimated earned income at purchasing power parity. For each year, the pair of percentages in combined into an equally distributed equivalent percentage. The mean of the two components as a mean to reward gender equality and penalize inequality. The gender empowerment management is the unweighted average of the EDEPS. Empower Development Economic Programs. Gender Thematic Groups. GT. Each United Nations country team is charged with establishing a gender theme group. The gender thematic group is the main mechanism for increasing collaboration, partnership and coherence within a unified, United Nations approach to supporting progress and capacity of national partners. The work of most thematic groups on gender is to facilitate dialogue on gender issues and encourage gender mainstreaming among partners. Undertake activities supporting women's human rights and empowerment in gender and providing support for national policies and action plans. Focus on training, production of gender briefing kits and inputting into the common country assessment. United Nations Development Assistance Framework processes as well as work involving the Millennium Development Goals and Poverty Reduction Strategy papers. U-Report, United Nations Report, a social messaging tool created by UNICEF that allows anyone from anywhere in the world to respond to calls, voice social concerns and work as positive agents of change. United Nations reports real-time information reaches tens and thousands of people, a large portion of whom are adolescent girls. United Nations country team gender scorecard. The United Nations country team performance indicators for gender equality establishes on accountability framework for assessing the effectiveness of gender mainstreaming by the United Nations country. The scorecard is focused on the performance of the United Nations country team rather than the performance of anyone United Nations organization. It intends to provide an assessment of what the United Nations as a whole contributes to gender mainstreaming and consequently to the promotions of gender equality. It is intended to complement existing accountability frameworks. The focus of the scorecard is on strategies and processes, that is gender mainstreaming. Rather than development results, achievement of development results on gender equality and and women's empowerment must be led by nations partner with support from United Nations country team. Various things are done by United Nations also to make the gender equality. Remove the gaps between gender among men, women, boys and girls. UNFPA, UNICEF joint global program to accelerate action to end child marriage. Also, Indian government has also taken a program, increase the age of child marriage. The program targets adolescents girls ages 10 to 19 at a risk of child marriage or already in union. In 12 selected countries, Bangladesh, Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Ghana, India, Mozambique, Nepal, Niger, Syria, Lebanon, Uganda, Yemen and Zambia. These are the target countries where the gender inequalities are there and the child are married before the age. The countries are Bangladesh, Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Ghana, India, Mozambique, Nepal, Niger, Sierra Leone, Uganda, Yemen and Zambia. UNFPA, UNICEF Joint Program on Female Genital Mutilation Cutting, the largest global joint program to accelerate abandonment, FGMC, initiated in 2007. The program focuses on 17 African countries and supports regional and global initiatives. UNICEF Russia, regional headline results. UNICEF regional offices have identified specific goals and targets to work towards specific headlines results. These results are internal measurement for critical development areas in the region. UNICEF Region Office for South Asia headline results are save newborns. Number 1, save newborns. Second, to stop stunting. Third, to educate all girls and boys. End child marriage, stop open defecation and end polio. United Nations Girls Education Initiative, a multi-stakeholders partnership committed improving the quality and availability of girls. Education, contribution to the empowerment girls and women through education. United Nations Girls Education Initiative Secretariat is hosted by UNICEF in New York City. Now the laws, conventions and related terms important to gender inequality. Gender equality. The topic, subtopic, laws, conventions, related terms important to gender equality. Beijing Declarations and Platform for Actions, adopted at 4th World Conference on Women in September 1995. Comprehensive commitments to women are called for under 12 critical areas of concern: poverty, education, training, health, violence against women, armed conflict, the economy, power and decision making, institutional mechanism, human rights, media, environment and the culture. Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities. The United Nations Conventions on the Right of Persons with Disabilities and its optional protocol was adopted on 13th December 2006. There are currently 174 ratifications to the CRPD and 92 ratifications to its optional protocol. The CRPD is a landmark international treaty. It is comprehensive human rights convention and international development tool and is at the heart of the disability rights movement. The CRPD includes explicit mentions of gender emphasizing the need to incorporate a gender perspective in all efforts to promote the full enjoyment of human rights, fundamental freedoms by persons with disabilities. Conventions on the right of the child, and it was in 1989. The United Nations Conventions and its optional protocols outline rights to be enjoyed without discrimination, including on the grounds of gender. The legal framework includes all the fundamental human rights treaties with provisions confirming the principle of non-discrimination and equality between men and women, boys and girls. Among those treaties, conventions on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women relates directly to the situation and well-being of girls. Article 12 of the Conventions on the Right of the Child protects children's right to express their views and have them expected in accordance with their evolving capacities. General rights of persons with disabilities notes multiple and intersecting forms of discrimination against women and girls with disabilities and provides guidance on national obligations and implementation. In 2016, the Committee on the Rights of the Child adopted two gender commits. Number 19 on public budgeting for the realizations of children's rights, and 20 on the implementations of rights of children during adolescence, which guides states on measures to ensure fulfillment of rights of the child during adolescence. The CRC is the most rapidly and widely ratified international human rights territory in history. The convention changed the way children are viewed and treated. That is, a human being with a distinct set of rights instead of a passive objects of care and charity. Commission on the Status of Women. The main global intergovernmental body exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women. At its 60th session in 2016, the Commission passed Resolution 60/2 on women, the girl child and HIV AIDS. At its 61st session in 2017, the Commission urged governments to mainstream gender perspectives in education and training, including science, technology, engineering, and math. Develop gender-sensitive curricula, eradicate female illiteracy, facilitate girls and women's effective transition to work, girls with disabilities and their right to education were highlighted in conclusion adopted at both systems. Conventions on elimination forms of discrimination against women, adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly, CEDAW. Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women is often described as an international Bill of Rights for women. Consisting of a preamble and 30 articles, it defines what constitutes discrimination against women and sets up an agenda for national actions to end such discriminations. The Convention defines discrimination against women as any distinction, exclusion, or restrictions made on the basis which has the effect or purpose of impairing or nullifying the recognitions, enjoyment or exercise by women, irrespective of their marital status, on a basis of equality of men and women, of human rights and fundamental freedoms in the political, economic, social, cultural, civil or any other field. By accepting the convention, states commit themselves to undertake a series of measures to end discriminations against women in all forms. As of 1 January 2008, responsibility for servicing the Committee on the Eliminations of Discriminations against Women has been transferred to the Office of the High Commissioners for Human Rights in Geneva. Next, duty bearer. Those actors who have a particular obligations or responsibility to respect, promote and realize human rights and to abstain from human rights violations. The term is most commonly used to refer to state actors, but non-state actors can also be considered duty bearer. An obvious example is private armed forces or rebel groups, which under international laws have a negative obligation to refrain from human rights violations. Depending on the context, individuals, that is parents, local organizations, private companies, aides, donors and international institutions can also be duty bearers. Now the term education. The equal right to quality education for every girl is articulated and enshrined in numerous significant declarations. Among them, Article 26 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Education 2030 Incheon Declaration and Framework of Actions, reaffirmed education as the most powerful means of empowering girls socially, economically and politically. Education is very important and it enhances and develops the society also. Eliminate illiteracies and distinctions. Office of the United Nations High Commissioners for Human Rights submitted a report to 35th session of United Nations Human Rights Council's A/HRC/35/11, specifically calling for the realizations of every girl's right to equal enjoyment of education. Female genital mutilations or cutting. General Assembly Resolution 67/146 2012 intensifying global efforts for the eliminations of female genital mutilations, urges states to condemn all harmful particles affecting women and girls, especially female genital mutilations, and take all necessary measures including enforcing legislations, raising awareness and allocating sufficient resources to protect women and girls from this form of violence. The resolution underscored the fact that practice of is a violence of the human rights of women and girls. Labor. Binding labor law instruments include the 1973 Minimum Age Convention number 138, the 1999 Worst Forms of Child Labor Conventions number 182, the 2011 Domestic Workers Convention number 189 of the International Labour Organizations and the Protocol of 2014 to the Forced Labour Conventions 1930. rights holders, individuals or social groups that have particular entitlements in relation to a specific duty bearers. In general terms, all humans beings are right holders. Under the Universal Declaration of human rights in particular context, there are often specific groups whose human rights are not fully realized, respected or protected. More often than not, these groups tend to include women or girls, ethnic minorities, indigenous peoples, migrant and youth. For example, a human right-based approach does not only recognize the right, consider right holders as active agents, the realization of human rights and development both directly and through organizations representing their interests. Now, various terms that are important in concerns of gender inequality. The terms are: what is gender bias? Making decisions based on gender that result in favoring one gender over the other, which often results in contexts that are favoring men and or boys over women and or girls. Gender bias sex relations. Sex selections can take place before a pregnancy is established, during pregnancy and through prenatal sex detections and selective abortions, or following birth through infanticides or child neglect. Sex selection is sometimes used for family balancing purposes but far more typically occurs because of systematic preference for boys. The biologically normal sex ratio at birth ranges from 102 to 106 males per 100 females. However, the ratio higher than normal, sometimes as high as 130, have been observed. This is now causing increasing concern in some South Asian, East Asian and Central Asian countries. Gender equity. The process of being fair to men and women, boys and girls, and importantly the equality of outcomes and results. Gender equity may involve the use of temporary special measures to compensate for historical systemic bias or discrimination. It refers to different treatment that fair and positively addresses a bias or disadvantage that is due to gender roles or norms or differences between the sexes. Equity measures that women and men and girls and boys have an equal chance, not only at a starting point but also when reaching the finishing line. It is about the fair and just treatment of both sexes that takes into account the different needs of men and women, cultural barriers and discrimination. Gender disparity. Statistical differences often referred to as gaps between men and women, boys and girls that reflects an inequality in some quantity. Parity education refers to equivalent percentage of males and females in an education system. Relative to populations per age, parity is essential but not sufficient for achieving gender equality.
specific impacts of the global economy, reoccurrence of conflicts or disaster, and other locally relevant factors such as ecological conditions. Sun preference. It is also a common term in our society, that sun preference. The practice of preferring male offspring over the female offspring, most often in poor communities that view girl children as liabilities and boy children as an asset to the family. This can result in families instilling superiority in male children and inferiority in female children, manifesting in such action as sending boys to school, especially to higher levels, and not girls, or household practices where boys are paid better than girls. The extreme manifestations of sun preferences is female feticide and sex-selected abortion. In some countries, this is a result in skewed population sex ratios. Now the term is, what is adolescence? Adolescence, the second decade of life from the ages of 10 to 19. Young adolescence is the age of 10 to 14 and childhood, and adulthood is a pivotal opportunity to childhood. All too often, adolescents, especially girls, are endangered by violence, limited by a critical health, lack of quality education, and unable to access helping adolescents navigate risk and vulnerabilities and take advantage of adults' opportunities. Empowerment refers to increasing the person's political, social, economic strength of individuals and communities. The core of empowerment lies in the ability of person to control their own destiny. This implies that to be empowered, women and girls must not only have equal capabilities such as education and health, and equal access to resources and opportunities such as land, employment, but they must also have the agency to use these rights, capabilities, resources, and opportunities to make strategic choices and decisions. Gender balance. How can gender be balanced? This is a human resource issue calling for equal participations of women and men in all areas of work, international and national staff at all levels, including at senior positions, and in programs that agencies initiate or support. Example, food distribution program, achieving a balance in staffing patterns, and creating a working environment that is conducive to a diverse workforce improves the overall effectiveness of our policies and programs, and will enhance agencies' capacity to better serve the entire population. Immediate barrier and causes of gender inequality, also commonly referred to as gender bottlenecks, determines options and opportunities available to persons according to their gender. This might include girls and women's greater concerns for safety and mobility when using washrooms or collecting water, or heavier burdens and responsibilities in the household. International Day of Girls. On 19 December 2011, United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 66/170 declaring 11 October the International Day of Girl Child to recognize girls' rights and the unique challenges girls face around the world, and to promote girls' empowerment and the fulfillment of their human rights. substantive equality. This focuses on the outcomes and impacts of laws and policies. Substantive equality goes far beyond creating formal legal equality for women, where all are equal under the law, and means that government are responsible for the impact of laws. The government is considering all among equal. Indian constitutions also stated that other male, no one can be discriminated on the basis of their sex. This requires governments to tailor legislations to respond to the realities of women's lives. Striving for substantive equality also places a responsibility on government to implement functioning justice system that meet women's needs. Substantive equality is a concept expressed in the conventions on the elimination all forms of discriminations against women. It recognizes that because of strict discriminations, women do not start on an equal footing to men. Now the term gender stereotype, it is a common term and wide in the topic many times it comes. What is gender stereotyping? Ascribing certain attributes, characteristics and roles to people based on their gender. Gender stereotypes can be negative, that is, women are bad drivers, men can't change diapers. Girls are not good at mathematics, boys are good at mathematics. Girls are good cook, boys are not a good cook. Girls and women are a homemaker, boys can't be a good homemaker. These are the stereotypes. And believing that is women are better caregivers, men are stronger. Gender stereotyping becomes harmful when it limits a person's life choices such as training and professional path and life plans. Compounded gender stereotypes occur when layered with stereotypes about other characteristics of the persons, such as disability, ethnicity or social status. Now coming to the conclusion, gender norms vary across time and culture. Because gender is learned, it can also be unlearned. Over the last few decades, our understanding of gender has deepened through the work of scholars in the field of sexuality, psychology, anthropology, among others. While this work has great value, our understanding of gender and gender equality from political point of view is equally important. As we will see in part 2 of this series, creating greater gender equality in our society can contribute to better reproductive and sexual health outcomes for men, boys, and women, girls. This gender equality program is also initiated and it is considered in our training program so that the differences and gaps can be filled somewhat. As we are educator, trainer, so we must consider and see about how can we fulfill these gaps. If we will be concerned, these gaps can be minimized very soon. Lastly, I want to thank you all the educators, learners for attending this in-house training session. Thank you CBSE team, thank you schools, members and all staffs. Thank you all of you. That's all. Thank you.